Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube, on X, on Roku, and on Fire TV. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I am sorry for the delay in start. Technology was technologying this morning. I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but things in my life technologically will run so smooth for such a nice period of time. You know, I could turn this show on for 6 straight months, 5 times a week, 4 weeks in a month. I could turn it on every single day and ride. And then all of a sudden, one random day, the computer decides to freeze. The computer decides that it wants to be slow. The computer decides it's going to crash itself in our broadcasting platform. And I feel like I got technology that crashes out randomly more than anyone else in America. And it's wild. Anyways, I could go deeper. I'm not going to, okay? But that was the crux of our delay. But our handy-dandy technological team, myself, really worked hard in that moment. And now we're on the air, and I'm very happy for it because we got a lot to talk about in the next 20 minutes. The NFL draft over the weekend. No, we are not just going to talk Shedeur Sanders on this show. I got 3 teams whose drafts I really liked, and I got 3 teams whose drafts I did not like as much, plus some other winners and losers in my mind. Yes, we will touch on Shedeur because it is a very interesting story that happened over the weekend. A top 30 ranked player by majority, if not all, of the people that were doing the rundowns on the 2025 NFL draft. You can call them experts if you want. I'm just calling them the people that did the rundowns because I've never seen so many people get a talent evaluation so wrong. Okay. And it begs the question, the Shedeur Sanders situation begs the question, how real is the information that's being fed from professional franchise to Adam Schefter, to Dan Orlovsky, to insert CBS guy here, to insert NFL Network guy there? How real is that information? Or is it changing now to where teams just really want no one to have any freaking clue? And so you're going to be more surprised now than ever. I have no idea. We'll get into that. And then we got to get some updates on the NBA and the NHL. Not a lot of surprises in the NBA, but there's one. And that's the Minnesota Timberwolves as the 6th seed being up 3-1 on Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and the Los Angeles Lakers. We might not have time for hockey today, but that's okay. If you want hockey action on this show, tune in every Tuesday at 7:10 in the morning, which is right now, for Hockey with Rocky. The social medias are The Rome Show 1 and 12OZ Sports. Find us everywhere. I would be remiss, however, if I did not start this show the appropriate way, because today is April 28th, 2025. Yes, it's Monday. Yes, it's the last week of April. But no, that's not why I bring this up. I bring this up because it is arguably the greatest day of the year in the Romanella household. It is my beautiful fiance's birthday. Okay. It is her golden birthday this year, which is super cool. I'll let you figure that out because I've learned enough to not say a woman's age out loud or over the national airwaves. But I just want to take a quick second at the start of this show to wish Juliana a very, very happy birthday. I could not be more happy. And all of the cliches that I've heard in my lifetime, you'll know when you know, or if you find the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, there's no questions about it. All of the cliches you think about love, I get now. I get it all now because you don't really know how much you need that person until you find that person. And finally, and happily, may I add, I have found that person. And it's her 28th birthday today, and I look forward to celebrating her for the next 24 to 24 days, 24 hours, 24 days, because she deserves all that celebration. Happy birthday, Jules. I hope it's a good one. She could either be listening to me in the car right now. She could be listening to me in the bedroom right now. She could be listening to me outside this door right now. So many places she could be, but hopefully she gets this note. Okay, let's go into, and I still might have it, the 2025 NFL Draft. So by now you should already know who the first overall pick is. It was quarterback Cam Ward coming out of the University of Miami. Really cool story for Cam Ward. We've talked a lot about the NIL and the transfer portal and the crazy change that it's made to college athletics. Well, Cam Ward, in a way, is a really good example of how the transfer portal is benefiting certain student athletes. Cam Ward started his career at University of Incarcerate Word, I think it is, in Texas, I believe, a Division II or an FCS institution, then transferred to Washington State and then finished at Miami. Cam Scatabo, the Giants' 4th-round draft pick, running back out of Arizona State, started his career at Sacramento State, okay? And I could list a few others, but Cam Ward, Cam Scatabo, and others you saw throughout this draft had some interesting stories on where they started. Even Ashton Janti, who was the 6th overall pick out of Boise State, but had no college offers minus Boise State because he played high school football to start his high school football career in Italy because his father was in the military. So you see these stories go out, right? And these are real. These are the cool ones to me. The guys that persevered. They weren't a top 100 ESPN recruit headed to only Ohio State, Michigan, or Alabama, right? I love hearing these stories. And the more and more I heard about Cam Ward and the more I've learned about him since he was drafted 1st overall on Thursday night, the more I think this man's going to be successful. Now, is he in the right organization? Are the Tennessee Titans the right place for him to go? I have no idea. Because what we've learned about the NFL draft, it is not about where you are drafted in terms of the number. It is about the team that drafts you. So Cam Ward's talent could be that he's number 1 overall in this draft, or because a team needs a quarterback, he'll go number 1 overall. But Cam Ward's offensive scheme, Cam Ward's coaching staff, the players around Cam Ward, how the organization is going to set him up for success, that's going to matter just as much as us believing he's talented enough to be the number 1 overall pick. So really, on draft day, sometimes the worst thing that can happen to you is you're drafted top 10. Maybe what happened to Shedeur Sanders is the best thing ever to happen to him, because now he's a 5th round, 144th overall pick to the Cleveland Browns. And I got to imagine there's not a lot of pressure on the 144th pick in the National Football League draft, a pick that happens on day 3. I got to imagine there is not a lot of pressure on that guy. There's not a lot of expectations, I should say, on that guy. Let's go into some of our thoughts here. I have 3 teams I really liked and 3 teams I did not like as much. Let's start with the teams I did not like. The aforementioned Cleveland Browns. Now, here's the deal, okay? I like Cleveland's thought processes in this draft. Let's trade out of the number 2 spot, We'll give the number 2 spot to the Jacksonville Jaguars and we'll collect picks because we don't just need one or two things, okay? We need multiple things. But here's my problem with the Cleveland Browns draft. How do you go into this draft saying we're going to trade the number 2 overall pick, okay, because we want to get more draft picks to build our roster deeper, and then of the 7 total picks that you had, you chose 2 quarterbacks and a running back. So you're going to tell me that you signed Kenny Pickett in the offseason, you signed Joe Flacco in the offseason, you have Deshaun Watson. Now, I'm not saying I agree with those quarterback decisions, but you're going to waste 2 of your 7 picks on quarterbacks? That is asinine. So right there, you lose in the draft if you're the Cleveland Browns. Whether that was a good decision or not to trade out of 2 to get a few more picks and get a next year's first-round pick from Jacksonville, whether that was smart or not, I have no idea, because if the person making the pick is an idiot, it doesn't matter how many draft picks you have. That is stupid. So I think the Cleveland Browns had a bad draft by nature of why. Actually, I lied. 4 of their draft picks, 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks. Like, are you serious? Have you seen your franchise play football? And I know your defense is pretty good, but have we thought about protecting the quarterback? We got a defensive tackle, a linebacker, running back, tight end, quarterback, running back, quarterback. Bad draft, in my opinion, for the Cleveland Browns. The next up is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I've heard a lot of different opinions on this. Again, the reason why I'm going to say that I don't believe the Steelers had a great draft is I think you come into this draft if you're Pittsburgh and you need a lot of offensive help. Okay. Mason Rudolph, not the answer at quarterback. Now, they draft Will Howard in the 6th round, the quarterback out of Ohio State, but I also don't believe that was the right decision. Okay. I think I've said it from the jump. I believe Jackson Dart was the best quarterback in this draft. You're in the late 1st round if you're the Steelers and you're looking at it and you're going, hey, man, we can get a Lamar, not a Lamar Jackson type talent, but a Lamar Jackson type steal in this draft. Now, I'm also not saying that Jackson Dart, I think Jackson Dart went exactly where he should go. Late 1st round, early 2nd round, based on his talent level and maybe some of the question marks around him. But the Steelers don't get him there. They pick up another running back. Don't understand it. They get another edge rusher in Jack Sawyer, though, who's a dude at Ohio State. So I'm not going to crush that pick. But you don't get any offensive weapons. So you're going to have a lackluster quarterback room with not a lot of offensive weapons. What are we doing here? So you're essentially, if you're a Steelers fan, in my opinion, based on their offseason and their draft, saddle up for another 10-7, 9-8. And again, you're going to be over 500. I would kill for that in a lot of the franchises I've rooted for throughout the period of my lifetime. But it's not championship caliber football. It's not getting you over the hump. And then finally, the other team that I believe did not have a very good draft was the New Orleans Saints. Now, first and foremost, I do not believe in Derek Carr. So that's my first issue with the Saints. You have the Jake Hayner kid and Spencer Rattler also in your quarterback room. So if you were going to update that room, if you're going to add a 4th member of that room, it needs to be somebody that you believe can start right away. Instead, they take Tyler Soe, the 26-year-old quarterback out of Louisville. Now, I'm not saying this guy is going to be atrocious, but this is Brandon Weeden all over again. If you remember from the Cleveland Browns, Brandon Weeden played another college sport, I think, then came back to college at 24, went to I want to say Washington State or Oklahoma State or something reckless like that, and then was drafted in the 1st round by the Browns at 26 years old. And he started for them for a few years. Obviously, as you see, history shows that did not work out for Cleveland. Now, I'm not saying it's negative for this Soe kid either, but I don't think he needed to be the 9th pick in the 2nd round. Again, so many needs on this roster. So much best available talent, and so many other quarterbacks that are clearly valued and younger, similar to this guy. But it is in the eye of the beholder. It is the team. It is the team and what they value that person as. It has nothing to do with actually has nothing to do with anyone else's thoughts, obviously. But you could have 31 teams say, we think that guy's atrocious. But if one general manager wants to stick his flag in that guy's talent pool, then he's going to. And he's going to back it. And he's going to make it feel like it's the greatest pick ever. But that's because his behind is riding on that pick just as much as your franchise is hoping that pick is really good. I'm hoping you stick with us through this commercial break real fast, because when we come back, my 3 or 4 draft winners and a little bit of an update on the National Basketball Association. It's April 28th, 2025. Happy birthday to my beautiful future wife. Hope the Rome Show listener stays with us, because we got a little bit more left here after this commercial break.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them, with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Yeah, the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com. Broadcasting live on YouTube. We're also broadcasting X, Roku, and Fire TV. I mean, it's everywhere. The Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast. I'm Andrew Romanella. The Rome Show, on Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, 12OZ Sports, the Mothership, all the places. Just follow us, people. And we have a great time. We have a really good time. Before I get into my winners of the National Football League draft, Kai the goalie said, I almost got drafted before Shedeur Sanders. Kai, coming in hot. I think it was a tough slide. It was a tough situation, but I'm telling you, long-term, Shedeur Sanders is going to play positively because he got drafted so late. And though he got drafted to a crap organization who clearly still, even after the debauchery of the Deshaun Watson situation, can't figure out their quarterback room. Okay. It might not work out from that standpoint, but I think the way we judge Shedeur Sanders' career long-term is going to be better now than it would have been if he was taken in the first round by the Steelers or the Saints, or the second round even. I think the slide to the third day of the draft tells you two things. No team trusted whatever they couldn't trust, whether that's the work ethic, the attitude, the culture he's coming from. I love everything Deion Sanders does. I don't have a negative thing to say about what Deion Sanders has done, not only for his son, and Shiloh also signed an undrafted free agent with the Tampa Bay Bucks after. Not only what he's done for his family, but what he's done for the game. Like, I don't understand necessarily why people hate on Deion Sanders, but I experienced this over the weekend. We lost 2 or 3 in the series against the team that's number 1 in our conference right now, but we won the 3rd game. And it was wild how quickly the kids that, I love playing against the team. I love their head coach. Great dude. But you listen to the other team and you're like, how quickly they started just like saying such negative and nasty things about our players. And I was like, it's wild to me. Like, how? So because one, we're beating you, which is fine. That's why we play sports. Like, you're not going to win every game. Okay. Which we did not do to you the day before when you slaughtered us, but that's neither here nor there. But it really just made me think not just about that team, but about in general, like that's the case in life. Like, people just negatively spew BS, especially about athletes, because they don't agree with whatever. Like, well, you might not agree with Deion Sanders having cameras at his practices. Okay, well then don't watch Colorado football. Don't follow that crap on Instagram. Block it, whatever. But to hate on that man for promoting his student athletes, bringing an elite environment to a program that has been stagnant for 50 years, and for getting 4 to 5 kids drafted that probably 3 years ago, 2 years ago, maybe wouldn't have had that case. So there's so much more. And then I guess, I'm sure Shador did some things to hurt himself. It's a two-way street here. Maybe the NFL teams were a little bit too long during the draft. But at the same time, maybe Shador was a little bit too during the draft process. And these other guys weren't. Okay? Dylan Gabriel wasn't. Cam Ward wasn't. Jackson Dart wasn't. O'Rourke wasn't. Like, all these other quarterbacks must have shown some other intangible, something else that made every team say, I'm good on Shador. Let's get to the teams that I really, really like. No one can call. Sorry, Kai, you really confused me here with your English. Essentially, Kai wrote in, you can't call him a bust now because he got drafted in the 5th round, which is also a good point. And the flip side to this whole thing, the conspiracy theory person in me, is that the NFL teams, all 32 GMs had that same thought. If I really like this kid, I'm going to take a risk in not getting him early so that if I get him late, it's either a steal and it'll never be considered a bust. Great point, Kai. Just terrible English there. It's okay, though. We'll get it. We got this thing, though. All right, teams that I really, really liked over the weekend. Number 1, the Arizona Cardinals. Love their draft. Why? Because it was all defensive players -1. I don't think that has happened in Arizona in a while. It's one of those, and the only offensive player, by the way, was a guard. But this is a team that has started to really pick up some weapons on offense. Good running game, 1 or 2 deep, solid receivers. Start with Marvin Harrison Jr. If you believe in Kyler Murray, then you believe you have an offense with weapons that is good enough to take you to the next level. But your defense has consistently not been great. Do I think you need a little bit more depth in the weapons area? Yeah. But much like I've talked about with some of these other teams, i.e. the Cleveland Browns, you got to attack all of your issues. You needed help on the outside. You needed help stopping the running game. You needed help in the trenches, and Arizona did that. I think they had a really A-level draft. Continuing on to my draft winners and losers, the next winner I have is the Carolina Panthers. Why? Because they addressed the weapon needs that they had, plus added to the depth and the ability of their defense and their offensive line. Here's the deal. That team, the last 6 to 8 games last year, came on real strong, starting with the quarterback. So you had to make sure you would build upon that. They did just that with their first round pick being Tetairoa McMillan the wide receiver out of Arizona, who was really good, but don't sleep past their final pick in the draft, Jimmy Horn Jr., out of the aforementioned Colorado and under the Deion Sanders umbrella. Do not sleep on that pick. I think it was a really good job by Carolina. They also added Trevor Etienne, brother of, for a few years, NFLer Tyler Etienne. I think that's his name. Either way, finally, my final winner in the NFL draft over the weekend was the New York Football Giants. They get multiple sounders because I cannot believe the law firm of Shane and Dable had the draft that they had over the weekend. Okay, I talked to my father post-show. Might have been Thursday, might have been Friday. I can't remember what day it was. And we both were talking about, like, let's see what the Giants do here. All right, let's see what happens. And after the Abdul Carter pick, maybe, I was on the bus ride down and, you start having conversations about, oh, what's next? All right, it's a good pick. All right. And then you see Giants trade up and you're like, oh, they're definitely getting a quarterback here. And all the Giants fans on our team were like, just please don't be Shador. Not necessarily because they didn't want Shador. They just didn't want him in that light right there. Didn't think he was good enough for the trade up. Whatever we were having the conversations on. And sure enough, it's Jackson Dart. And I talked to my dad after the draft. He's like, dude, I think that was it. I agree. The two picks alone in the first round, okay, and the handling of that, very nice, okay. So you have Abdul Carter, elite edge rusher, okay, to go with Thibodeau. And now you have Jackson Dart, okay. And then not only that, though, they kept adding to the weapons. Because I told you, I think Cam Scatterbo is going to be one of the top, if not the best running back in this draft. 4th round, Arizona State. Dude's an animal. Started at Sacramento State, then transferred to Arizona State, and now you see it. That's an elite pick right there. Then added a tight end, added Nebraska Thomas Fidone the second. We'll see how he plays out. But they addressed needs, and a big one in the QB room, and they've had some real success in the past with Ole Miss football. All right, let's finish the show here really fast. Just want to give you a quick update on the NBA. I'll put the music on for you. Here's the deal. Oklahoma City is okay. They are moving on to the second round. They really had some fight they had to get to the Grizzlies, but nonetheless, 4 straight victories. The in the West start Nuggets and the Clippers are tied 2-2. Yesterday, it was a tip-in bucket by Aaron Gordon with 0.1 seconds left. It looked like an alley-oop. It's really a missed shot by Nikola Jokic. Nonetheless, tied the series at 2-2. They head back to Los Angeles. I said it earlier in the show, the Lakers, they're down 3-1 right now to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is that guy right now. That series, in my opinion, is over. And then another upset alert would be the Warriors. They're up 2-1 on the Houston Rockets. However, I've been hinting towards this for the people for a little bit of time now. Why? Because I don't believe the Houston Rockets have enough experience, and the Golden State Warriors do. And just Steph Curry alone, who's playing lights out defensively. He's great offensively, of course, lights out defensively. And on the Eastern Conference side, the Cavs up 3-0 on the Heat, no problems there. Pacers are probably going to end Doc Rivers' coaching career. They're up 3-1 on the Milwaukee Bucks. However, check the Instagram, okay, the Rome Show 1. That's the Twitter sound, don't care. Check the Instagram story, you'll see how good Giannis Antetokounmpo has been in his last 7 losses with the Bucks. Doc Rivers, not the answer. The Knicks, they win by 1 point. Controversial call late. At the end of the day, the Knicks probably deserve that after all of the bad calls against them in this series. They're up 3-1, headed back home. And the Celtics, they had a scare yesterday. The Magic almost got them again, but they go up 3-1 in that series. And that, ladies and gentlemen, would be what we consider the Rome Show here on a Monday. On, I don't know, greatest day of the year outside of October 24th would be April 28th, my beautiful fiance's birthday. Happy birthday, Jules. Have a great day to the people. Make sure it's an electric one, and I'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Andrew Romanella saying peace.
Thank you for listening.